Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a blessed Sunday. And in the news this morning for December 17, 2023, senior officers unhappy as on-call allowance silence robs them of festive feeling. Simmering anger within the Jamaica Constabulary Forces officers' rank could lead to head-on collision with the government over the state's failure to move the needle on negotiations for a better increase in on-call allowance. Senior Superintendent of Police Wayne Cameron, who chairs the Police Officers Association, which represents gazetted officers from the rank of superintendent to commissioner, told the news on Saturday that the government has not responded since the association rejected an offer of 15% increase in the allowance last month. As such, his colleagues, he said, were restive. December festive season, no added money. The officers are not happy, and with a good reason, because traditionally the practice is that when December comes around, we would get a little money here or there. There is no money, so they are rightfully restive, SSB Cameron said. The news had contacted Cameron after seeing his communication to POA members in which he said that the discussion around on-call allowance is now a troubling juncture. In that letter, Cameron outlined that the offer of the 15% increase across all ranks were made by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark in a telephone discussion early last month. He said that the POA executive discussed the offer but flatly refused it on the basis that it was paltry, given that the POA's proposal for the allowance to be increased to 40% of basic salary. The minister promised he would return to us timely, and that he'll request of the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of National Security to sit in our next meeting, Cameron said. Since then, the POA has not gotten a new offer, neither a new meeting date. This is the case despite several communiques to Mr. Wayne Jones, Deputy Financial Secretary, the Minister himself, and other members of the bargaining unit, Cameron said in the note to the POA members, pointing out that service pay is now 20% of basic salary, while the on-call allowance is at an average of 8.5% of basic salary. Cameron said the 15% offer is an insult to the officer corps and we'd be moving up by less than 7%. In his discussion with the news, Cameron explained that the salary increases granted under the government's compensation review in April this year resulted in an erosion of the on-call allowance from 20% of basic salary to its current average 8.5%. Before the compensation review, it formed a substantial portion of an officer's salary package. Now it doesn't, he said. We are saying to the government, we need to fix this. He said that unlike cops in the junior ranks, police officers are not placed on an overtime system as they are regarded as always at work. When an officer is not at his desk, he is at home. The moment you take up the phone and call him, he is actually working. So the on-call allowance is for the extended hours and for the inconvenience placed on an officer. As a manager, because I could be doing my private thing when you call me, but I have to put that down to address the situation that I am now being called upon, either to clarify a situation, to give advice, or to give instructions, he explained. So we need to get this allowance back up to where it was or above, he told the news. We are saying that the fact that we do extended hours, added hours, and we can be called at any time, then the on-call allowance must be given attention. If we are working at the executive level, then we should be paid at the executive level, he argued. Cameron, in his note to the POA members, said that at the last Heads of Agreement meeting, the slate of outstanding allowance should have been settled from June 30, 2023. This means that the Minister of Finance and the Public Service is not only in breach of our agreement, but has been displaying little or no regard to this bargaining process, he said. Also, given the fact that we are now in the middle of the festive season, officers have a legitimate expectation to see a difference in their salary package. I'll just advise officers that the POA executive is contemplating its next move as the new week approaches. We'll also advise as soon as a response is had, he said. Asked when the executive would meet with POA members, Cameron didn't give a date. However, he said if they do not get an answer soon, that meeting is on the horizon. Damien Beach's touted tapes tendered as evidence in murder trial. The controversial Samsung A31 cellular phone, which was used to record more than 120 phone calls between Everton Beachstown MacDonald and Denver Bubba Minot, was entered into evidence in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Friday during the murder trial of Beachstown and his co-accused Oscar Barnes. Certificates from the Communication Forensics and the Cybercrime Division of the Jamaica Constabulary Force were also tendered into evidence. Beachstown and Barnes are on trial for the July 20, 2020 murder of Tonya MacDonald, who was Beachstown's second wife. It is alleged that Beachstown conspired with Bubba to have his wife murdered. The businessman allegedly promised to give Bubba $3 million to stab Tonya and cut her throat. According to Bubba, who confessed to being the contractor, Oscar Barnes was the person to whom he subcontracted the job. Bubba, who received a 19-year and 10-month prison sentence for his role, told the court that Barnes was the one who physically killed Tonya while he stood by watching. Tonya's partially burnt body was found on the main road in Sherwood Forest, Portland, on July 20, 2020, beside the fully burned Toyota Axia motor vehicle she was driving. Bubba claimed that Barnes was the person responsible for torching the car after Tonya was killed. During his testimony in the trial on Thursday, a JCF detective sergeant, who is the lead investigator into the murder of Tonya, told the 7-member jury and Judge Chester Stamp that on August 3, 2020, he received the phone allegedly belonging to Bubba, took it to the CFCD department, and made a request to the investigators there. I was given a receipt. I placed it in storage at the Major Investigations Division office. A detective constable analyzed the phone. I met with him during the investigations. We met on more than one occasion, doing reviews on matter. He and I usually met at his office or at the Criminal Investigations Branch headquarters and the Port Royal Police Station. We also met with the owner of the phone. The owner is Denver Minot. Mr. Minot used his thumbprint to unlock the telephone, and he scrolled to an area on the phone where he had certain storage information. I observed that there were several voice communications. Mr. Minot played one of the conversations. I then recorded a statement from him, the detective sergeant told the court. The detective sergeant on Thursday detailed what took place and what he found during searches conducted as part of the investigations. On September 30, 2020, I made an application in the Portland Parish Court by way of affidavit. I requested 2 search warrants under Section 18 of the Cybercrimes Act 2015. These warrants were obtained to conduct searches at Mary Shine Enterprise and another location. On October 1, 2020, I was armed with 2 search warrants and myself, along with a team of officers from MID and the CFCD, proceeded to Port Antonio. Mary Shine is a supermarket business at 8 William Street in Port Antonio, Portland. It is a 2-story building. The upper floor is where Everton MacDonald's main office area is, which was shared with his secretaries and other employees. The upper floor also housed a kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, and a storeroom. On October 1, 2020, upon arrival, I executed the search warrant on 2 secretaries. A justice of the peace was there. We conducted a search of the upper floor. One of the secretaries used a combination to open one vault and a key to open the other. We checked the entire floor, the detective sergeant told the court. During a search of a desk drawer inside the Beachstown's office, the policeman said he found a screw-covered bottle with the label Mountain Peak Coffee on it. However, the bottle did not contain coffee, according to the detective, but had an unknown liquid substance inside it. Over $18 million stolen from Sunshine Snacks distributor, 3 employees charged. The Criminal Investigations Branch in Portmore, St. Catherine has confirmed that several employees have been arrested in a case of larceny at the distributor for Sunshine Snacks. Detective Inspector Homer Morgan says the accused were involved in a scheme that saw a little over $18.5 million stolen from the confectionery and the Snacks Limited between March and November 2023. It is reported that the scheme was first discovered during an audit carried out by the company. A report was made, and following police intervention, 6 persons were arrested, 3 of whom have been charged. Charged with larceny as a servant and a conspiracy to steal, are 38-year-old dispatch supervisor Harold Burrell, sales representative 31-year-old Nathaniel Sutherland, and 40-year-old Conrad Abraham. They were brought before the St. Catherine Parish Court early last week, where they were granted bail in the sum of $200,000 each. The other 3 persons, who have not been named, remain in police custody. Morgan says that the Portmore CIB will be continuing the investigation earnestly.